In Fairfield County, something new comes across my desk every day. Crimes are committed, cases are solved, and a community is made safe by the hardworking employees of the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office.
Welcome to This Week with Sheriff Dave Phalen, a weekly program here on LSN Television. And we're also carried by a number of our radio affiliates here in Fairfield County. Do appreciate you, the viewers and listeners that join us each and every week. Executive producer Kelly Roberts, and certainly the students here at Fairfield Christian Academy that put this program together. Have a great guest this week, Deputy Kelly Keys, Special Deputy with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, and you got quite a background.
Yes, sir. I've been around for a little
while. But one thing I think when we first got connected, I'm a little bit older than you, but your dad, Billy Keys, was a guy that I actually worked for a period of time on 13 Precinct, a sergeant with the Columbus Police Department.
Yes, sir. He was a Columbus police officer, a sergeant for about 30 years, and retired from that and went to another department for another 10 years, so about 40 years in law enforcement.
Wow. So you grew up in a law enforcement family.
Oh, absolutely. Even as a little child, my dad used to take me to work with him sometimes at the Detective Bureau when I was 10, 12 years old, and cut me loose, let me look around, and so I kind of grew up with it, and family members were other law enforcement, people. Great-great-grandfather was a sheriff in Virginia.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's kind of a history in our family.
Wow. So did you ever go out and actually ride with your dad in the cruiser?
Absolutely. Even in the Detective Bureau we used to go. I remember the first homicide I ever saw, I was like 12 years old. It was down on Mount Vernon Avenue.
Oh, my God.
So he took me out and he showed me some of the things around. It was just kind of growing up, showing me what the real world looked like. So,
well, and I know he passed away a number of years ago. He'd certainly be proud of you today.
Yeah, well, he was a good father.
He was a great guy, and I don't say that because you were here, but I always thought a lot of him. He was a kind of a cop's cop, and kind of common sense, and kind of a big guy, and he demanded a lot of respect. And I can remember working in the South End for him off and on, and always treated us really good. He was a good guy.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
So tell us a little bit about, first of all, tell us a little bit about your family.
Well, I have a wife and 2 children. I got a daughter, Katie, is in the 9th grade, and my son, Sam, he's in the 7th grade, and actually they go here at Fairfield Christian.
Okay.
My wife, Carla, we've been married for over 20-some years.
Okay.
And she works here at Fairfield Christian, too. So,
okay.
And we live in Carroll, Ohio.
Uh-huh. And you also have some classes you teach, right?
Yeah. Throughout the day, I teach a martial arts called the Roku Christian Martial Art.
Okay.
I teach that out of my home in Carroll. It's kind of a nonprofit organization. We've opened this up. I used to teach at Ohio University,
okay,
a martial art class, but we wanted to open up a Christian martial art. So what I do during the week is I teach homeschool kids. I probably have 60 homeschool kids come in on Thursday mornings. It's all free. And what we do is we teach them martial arts, and I'm kind of like their gym teacher for the week.
Okay.
And then with that, we always teach devotions at the end for Bible forum for the classes, and then I also teach on Saturdays, and it's an open class for adults and kids.
So what's the ages for the kids?
Anywhere from 5 years old all the way up to 60 years old. So.
And why is a class like that important to kids, young people?
Well, kids need a direction to go.
Okay.
You can either just cut them loose on the streets and they have to figure it out, or you can get them in a group setting around a group of good people, and it teaches them good fundamentals and good values. The instructors that I have that help teach, they're all Christian men and women.
Mm-hmm.
They're all either law enforcement or lawyers or doctors, or all different types of people out there that help teach, and they all care about the kids, so they put them in that type of environment.
Now, do you have tournaments and things like that where you travel, or is it basically just
no? We strictly stay right there within our own place.
Okay.
There's some other great schools here that in Lancaster that do the tournament, like the Y. Skidmore's, they have Roku karate over there that do tournaments. Jamie Mathias has a PAL boxing over here that also does it, and they do tournament-wise, and some fantastic instructors here.
So how did you get interested in that?
Well, I was in the Army.
Okay.
And I got out of the Army, and I was getting ready to box in Columbus. And my dad found out I was getting in boxing, and he said, no, I don't want you going there.
Okay.
And I didn't really know the place that I was going, but he did, working in the South End. And he said, if you want to get involved with this, I know a person. And he took me to a friend of his that was a martial artist that had studied in Okinawa. And
really?
I got hooked up with him, and then from then on, I stayed with him. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So then at some point you joined the Fairfield County Sheriff's, or Franklin County Sheriff's Office, right?
Yes. After I got out of the Army, I was able to go to Franklin County Sheriff's Department and hired on there in, I think, 1983.
Okay.
Yes. And then I worked there until 2011.
Okay.
So
what were some of your assignments? And it looks like you have a lot of different ribbons and things.
Yeah.
What are some of the different assignments you worked within the Franklin County Sheriff's Office?
I had a blessed career. I mean, I really did. I started out working in the jails. It's in Franklin County, that's what you immediately do. As soon as you hire on, you go straight to the jail and worked there for a long time. I worked court services, municipal court, common pleas court. I've worked with the training academy. I did a lot of training in Franklin County. And then I did 25 years with the Franklin County SWAT.
Okay.
That was kind of my main thing that I loved to do. So I did that, and along with the fugitive squad, and so fast with the Marshal Service. And my last duty was I was pretty much full-time SWAT working with narcotics.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow. Exciting stuff.
Oh yeah, really enjoyed working with narcotics. I would set up their raids for them and help them with training, and it was a great group of guys to work with.
Any memorable entries that you made as far as your SWAT career? There's probably a lot of them, but anything that comes to mind where it was just like didn't know which way it was going to go, or it was kind of a little bit hairy?
Probably one of the funniest entries that I made is we made an entry into a big drug house one day and come around the corner, and what met me in the hallway was a big alligator. They had an alligator in the hallway chained up with chains on both sides. So as I came around the corner, I was met by an alligator.
Whoa.
And, that's not something you see every day.
No, you don't see that.
No.
So how did you handle the alligator?
Well, we stepped back a little bit, and we were finally able to find a blanket and threw it over top the alligator's head. And then at that point, he couldn't see us, and then we jumped on top of him and was able to get the bad guys behind him. So it was
What did you
comical.
Take the alligator to the zoo?
Yeah, well, we definitely called the zoo, and then they came and was able to get a hold of him and take him out. So they were surprised it was that big.
That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
that is absolutely amazing. But that's a good memory.
Yes, it was. It was pretty funny.
So, as part of the being a member of the SWAT team, what are some different things that you train for as a SWAT officer, and some of the different responsibilities that a SWAT officer has?
Well, I'll tell you, over the years it's changed. When I first got on SWAT, it was back in the late 80s.
Okay.
And that was just right when crack cocaine was coming in, and they were doing a lot of entries. And the entries were just for the drugs and stuff at that self to get them off. But then it rolled right into hostage barricades, domestic violence, and high-risk warrants. And then it even got to a phase where we were worried about terrorism. So we were doing a lot of training on terrorism, and we did quite a few entries in Columbus on terrorism. Mm-hmm. So it was just a different aspect. Weapons of mass destruction. It just from the 80s until now, it's just completely changed.
And that's something that, as a SWAT team members, you have to continue to train and update, right?
Yes, it's constantly training from year to year. Everything's different. Weaponry is different. Your threat level's different. It's different aspects come at you. When we first started, it was just entries, then we started doing presidential details with presidents coming in, protection details. I mean, it's just ongoing.
Kind of snowball. And I know at one time, when you look at the schools, they would, up until Columbine, the idea was if you had a hostage, you had kind of a situation, you kind of cordoned off the area. But today, that's no longer the case, because we know if you have a threat inside, now once the deputies, the officers get there, there's no waiting. They go in.
Absolutely.
They go in and try to immobilize the threat.
Yes. And actually one of the first school incidents we had was in Columbus. There was a Christian school on the north end, and we got called with a gunman in the school. And as we showed up, like you say, the tradition was just surround the school and then wait for SWAT. But we were all already on the street, and it's just kind of funny because the city SWAT and the county SWAT was working out, and about 6 of us showed up at once, and it was the city SWAT and us. And there was only 6 guys of us, so it was 2 teams that didn't even know each other. But at the time, we had a chief, was Chief Steve Martin. Right. He looked at us and said, "Go in," before the team even got there. So we went in as a group, and then from that, they started talking about active shooters and coming up with training, and that's pretty much where quad training came up with.
Is the way SWAT teams operate across the United States pretty similar? In other words, if there was a SWAT incident, could you bring in a team from Cincinnati or someplace else, and could that be coordinated and worked out between the 2 teams pretty quickly?
Yes, and that's what training's for. They go to NTOA, OTOA. These are different types of organizations that teach SWAT tactics, and then they share the information among one another. And so SWAT officers are always going out trying to learn the new techniques and what other teams are doing, so they can always keep it changing.
And I think, when you look at the safety level, certainly when I entered law enforcement, there wasn't a SWAT team. And so it was more or less and we were not trained properly for those kind of things. And so what would happen many times is you just kind of went by the seat of your pants, and there wasn't the coordination, there wasn't the training. At that time we didn't have vests, we had revolvers, so things have certainly improved. And even today, when we look at the loss of officers, it continues really to decrease overall.
Yes.
There's a number of officers killed in the line of duty because they are better trained, they have vests, they take precautions, and a lot of things they didn't do 40 years ago.
That is correct.
We're coming up on the clock here, so we'll be out of time in just a minute. I'd like to have you back next week. Sure. And talk about once you retired from Franklin County, then now you volunteer as a special deputy from Franklin County. You volunteer as a special deputy with Fairfield County.
Yes, sir.
And you're also involved with Lancaster High School.
Yes, I teach a law enforcement class every Friday at the Lancaster High School.
And I want to hear about how young people, how many young people really want to be in law enforcement, what you find out there at the high school, the level of enthusiasm, and some of the things even a high school kid would start learning at that age to be a law enforcement officer. So if you could join us next week, I'd appreciate it.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
This week we've had Deputy Kelly Keys, a special deputy with the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office, a retiree of the Franklin County Sheriff's Office, did a great job there, and we're certainly glad to have him here in our county volunteering his time. Well, the clock on the wall says we've got to go. Until next week, same time, same place. God bless, buckle up, and we'll see you right here next week.
Hello, I'm Officer Chris Caton, and I'm the Director for the Lancaster Police Department Safety Town program. Safety Town is a 2-week summer safety program designed for children getting ready to enter kindergarten this fall. They are taught to make wise decisions in potentially dangerous situations, as well as how to handle emergencies. They also learn pedestrian safety by negotiating a miniature village on tricycles. This year's Safety Town program dates are June 16th through the 27th. We have a morning and an afternoon session. The morning session begins at 9 a.m. and runs to noon, and the afternoon session runs from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. There is a $20 registration fee, and the registration forms and the informational packets can be found in your child's kindergarten packet at your local elementary school. Or you can locate the registration form on the Lancaster Police Department website under the forms section. There is a registration deadline of June 6th, so Hurry up and get your registration form in to ensure that you get the session of your choosing. This year's Safety Town program is going to be located again at Medill Elementary School, 1151 James Road. And if you have any further questions regarding Safety Town, please feel free to contact me at 740-687-6680, and my direct extension is 518. We look forward to seeing your future kindergartner this year at Safety Town.